there is not a field of activity on the planet that you can engage in that is only going to have things that you like. Forget it. That's a wholly immature attitude to have. I'm only going to do the stuff that I like. It does not exist. You can choose a field of activity that is in line with your nature. I'm an artist, so I do art. Or I'm a filmmaker, I do film. I'm an accountant, I do accounting. Whatever it is, you find that field of activity that is in line with your nature. Within that, there are going to be aspects that you really like, aspects that are so-so, and aspects that you don't like. So you are always going to run into aspects of the world and activities that you have to perform that you will not want to perform, that will collide with your dislikes. At that point, all you have to do is assess, is it my obligation or not? Yeah, it's my obligation. And so you do it. But while you're doing it, you're not doing it for the short-term or the local result. You're doing it for the long-term result. So go back to the example that we gave earlier. If you're in a business setting, or if you're doing some non-profit work and you want to be successful in that, I don't want to market myself. I don't want to self-promote. It's a very unpleasant thing to have to do. So when I'm doing that, I'm not doing it with my eye on the result of self-promotion and the things that come from that. I'm doing it with my eye on the recognition that I want to build homes for the homeless. So why are you self-promoting? To build homes for the homeless. So this is why I say the goal is so important. If you can connect yourself to the goal, then the activities that you're performing, you slide over them much more easily if they don't conform to your preferences. Because you are convinced this is the right thing to do, and your mind also has that feeling that's the result that I want. I want to see people in a better condition. I don't want to see people living on the street. I want to change society for the better. You know, if I could wave a magic wand, that's what I would choose. So your emotions are in line with it, and your intellect has also recognized this is a worthy objective upon which to concentrate and towards which to direct my efforts. So the mind and intellect are flowing in confluence towards that goal. Now, the fact that I have to be doing something I don't like to do, that's life. We are always going to come across those. When we function on attachment, when we are attached, we will tend to present to ourselves those arguments which advance the mind's preference, and we will temporarily or happily forget all of those arguments which would refute it. Now we have, the idea of selective memory. Well, we also have selective analysis. We conveniently forget all of the things which would say, therefore he should go back. So what we need to do when it comes to these sort of situations is be a lawyer. The intellect is like a lawyer, right? You have a person who's up on a charge. A lawyer could function in his defence or for the prosecution. This is why debating is such a powerful and very, it's an important skill to learn if you learn it at high school. Because when you go into the debate team, what do you have to do?
Argue both sides.
You have to be able to argue their side better than they can. So that when they do it, you will be able to defend it. Right? And so when you're deciding on a course of action, let's say it's a binary choice. And like the example you gave, leave them at school, leave them at home. These are the two options. First of all, question that. Is there a third option? Is there a fourth option? But let's say it's a binary choice. Argue as strongly as you can in favour of both. And then argue as strongly as you can against both. Right? And then find and locate the choice that conforms with your desire. What do you want? If you just completely threw analysis out the window, if you were in a magical universe where whatever you felt was the correct idea, what would you do if it was just based on feeling? And then recognize that that's the one. Now, the reason that you do this is because you have to discount your bias.
Could you repeat that? I didn't quite follow that. Say that again.
Yeah, okay. So first we do the analysis.
Right, got that.
the pros of A, the pros of B,
Right.
the cons of A, the cons of B, and you get some sort of,
Right.
solution or conclusion. What you then do is ask yourself the question, now which choice, forgetting all the analysis, which choice is in line with my preference, in line with my feelings, in line with my desire? Now the reason you ask that choice is because you have to recognize that you will be biased towards that your analysis itself will be biased in that direction, and so you have to be able to discount that.
You're saying discount that choice.
Not discount that choice, discount that preference. Recognize that there's a crosswind, right? You're playing golf, right? There's a crosswind of 10 kilometers per hour. So you have to correct for that. You don't hit straight down the fairway. You hit a little bit, 15 degrees you hit to the right because you're correcting for that influence. But it simply means that you have to be aware that I have a bias towards A. And like everyone else on the planet, if I'm biased towards A, my thinking will take me there. Right? What's the example that we always use when we talk about this? Nope. The duck, the pond. My feet, wings and feathers, for what that I see, as good as the ducks are for swimming, said she. Is my beak is pointed and their beaks are round. Is that any reason why I should be drowned? Now, on the face of it, that's absolutely correct. Beak shape has got nothing to do with the ability to swim, but the whole analysis is completely pointless. It's got nothing to do with it. You're analysing factors which aren't relevant. Not only that, what does she say? My feet, wings and feathers are as good as a duck's for swimming. That's wrong. The duck has webbed feet. Chicken has claws. They're not as good for swimming. But she says it and believes it. So this is the effect of the mind's bias. I want to believe that the right thing to do is to go swimming. I'm really remarkably fond of the water. That is the whole crux in that poem, that line. I'm really remarkably fond of the water. That's also completely irrelevant. But she brings it in. I really want to. And so where the intellect has not been developed, we'll do this sort of chicken reasoning and end up at the conclusion that our mind has asked us to adopt. And so again, this is the reason, this is what we were saying earlier, gut instinct. Gut instinct is just another word for feelings. And feelings in and of themselves are not an accurate reflection of reality. They need to be checked. They're an accurate reflection of our relationship to the reality.